Hey guys, I'm going to do a quick video about something called ambiguous changes. That's pretty intimidating just when you hear it, huh? Okay. This is an interesting concept. It's supply and demand, so let's draw that out. Okay. Alright. Price, quantity, price. Okay. So here's what ambiguous changes mean. You'll get something like they'll give you some determinants and supply and demand will shift, or they'll just tell you straight up supply increases, demand decreases. They're going to give you two shifts basically. So let's assume the shift supply increase and let's do it like keep it like it was, demand decrease. So let's draw that. Demand decreased, supply increased. Right. Technically, this is where we should be, right? Producing the same quantity, but at a lower price. That's where we should be. But there's something called ambiguous changes. Totally just ruined my video. Go away.
Sorry. Read my status.
Eventually. The Joel will be like, read my status! The video. Okay. So, here's what an ambiguous change is. When they give you something like that, supply increased, demand decreased, here's what you're going to do. Make two graphs. Make standard supply and demand graph. Supply, demand. Okay. So supply increases. In one of the graphs, make a big increase in supply, and in the other graph, make a small increase in supply. What you do in this graph, right here in this graph, let me make it color-coded. In the yellow graph, you made supply increase a lot, and in this graph, you made supply increase a little. Do the opposite to demand. So as demand decreased, you want to increase demand a little bit here, because you increased supply a lot. So we increase demand a little bit. So where does S1 and D1 intersect? They intersect right here. Okay? So that's our new market equilibrium point. So that's our quantity 1, quantity P, my bad, price. Alright, and the old one where supply and demand intersected is right here. So that's Q2 and P2. So what happened from the old one to the new one, to the new market equilibrium? First of all, price decreased, because up here was higher price, and the yellow one, which is our new equilibrium, the price is lower. And the quantity increased. So we're going to put price decrease, quantity increase. Let's look at this graph now. We did a small increase in supply, so now we're going to do a big decrease in demand. So let's do that. Okay. Now let's do the same thing we did before. Where supply and demand intersect? Right here. So that's our quantity 1 and our price 1. And where does supply 1 and demand 1 intersect? They intersect right here. So we have quantity 2, price 2. So what happened here? Well, first of all, the price decreased and the quantity decreased. So price decreased, quantity decreased. Now, you may have noticed already, but look at this. In both graphs, the price decreases, but in this graph, the quantity increases, and in this graph, the quantity decreases. That's kind of weird, right? So it's the same thing, an increase in supply but a decrease in demand, yet the quantity change is different in both graphs. Both graphs, the quantity change is different. So when in one graph it changes, and the other graph it changes in a different direction, that is called the ambiguous factor. Ambiguous factor, ambiguous change. Quantity is the ambiguous factor. You don't know whether it'll increase like it did in this graph or decrease like it did in this graph. Because just because there's increase in supply and a decrease in demand, we don't know how big it's going to be. Is the supply increase going to be bigger like it is in the left graph, or is it going to be smaller like it is in the right graph? We don't know. So we're going to put in both scenarios and see what happens in both scenarios. We know the price will decrease no matter what, because that's the same in both graphs. But we don't know what will happen to quantity. So that's our ambiguous change. And that's the lesson on ambiguous change. Thanks for watching.